Aries, how are you? I'm going to do a reading for the next 7 to 10 days. So, as always, take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in the story. So I sure appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. And if you appreciate what I do here, help me out. Hit that like button right there. Boink. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really makes a difference to my channel. All right, let's see what's going on for you, Aries. We got the Wheel of Fortune to the Page of Pentacles. Well, I like that. You know, to me, this is almost like a winning combination. Because if you've been really needing, you know, to find a job or get something off the ground that could really start to make you some money, these two really kind of see that this is encouraging, that whatever it is that you have in mind, because I see you kind of looking ahead, you know, you have this thought, this idea of what you really want to start to build. And the Wheel of Fortune, I think, totally supports that. So I like that. All right, let's see what else is going on. You know, Aries, I got to tell you, you're dealing with someone, you know, the King of Cups here. All right, we've got, it could be an older person. It could be somebody that, you know, you work with. But this King of Cups, he's at the root of what's going on this week. All right, so maybe this is somebody that you are involved with. This could be somebody that you know, you're with. I feel as if, you know, you might be wondering how they really truly feel about you. You know, because here we have the Ace of Swords, the Four of Cups, and, you know, you're kind of wondering whether or not they're always being honest with what it is that they're saying or telling you that they're feeling. And I have to say that because we've got the Empress coming in here reversed, all right? So when we have an energy around, you know, here's this person who you question whether or not they are, you know, okay, or they're satisfied, whether this is your person, you know, and you wonder whether or not, you know, you believe everything that they tell you, because somehow you feel a little insecure with that Empress coming in reversed. You know, because she is divine feminine. She knows what she wants. She knows who she is. She's very kind. She's very loving. She's very nurturing. I mean, there could be an issue around children that comes up between you and your person. That could be a discussion about the future. Because again, you know, we start the reading out with you looking forward ahead at your future. You know, and there could be this energy where, you know, I don't want to have kids in the future. You know, and, you know, if that's the case, you might have to really speak up and say something, because the Ace of Swords says that, you know, if you're not going to say anything, you know, you're going to be suffering over here. But if you do want to have kids, then you need to say, you know, hey, I would really like to have some kids. You know, so there could be a kid discussion that comes up for some Aries this week. You know, because here, you know, in the recent past, we've got the Chariot card. So I think you've made some shifts and some moves, maybe even in a relationship with this king, that now it's just like, okay, well, you know, we moved. Some of you may have literally moved, or we maybe stepped into the next phase of our relationship. Because I see a new beginning with this Page of Pentacles, all right? This is a brand new start, all right? We're going to start something. We're going to build something. And then we have the Knight of Wands over here dancing around this energy of this Empress, all right? When I have this kind of energy, I feel like something is not being said that needs to be said, all right? Because the Knight of Wands, you know, they don't want to kind of stir the pot. They're, you know, they're the friendly people, you know, in the zodiac. They're the ones, you know, that want to just kind of, you know, have fun and be the life of the party and go places and do things. But then here we have, you know, this Knight of Wands reversed, and we have this Ace of Swords reversed. So I have to wonder whether or not, you know, you wonder whether or not this person's on board with this future, this vision that you've got. And whether or not this move, you know, is going to work, right? So I think, you know, when we make a big shift in our life, you know, where all of a sudden, you know, we make that commitment, we make the engagement, you know, we buy the house, we get married, you know, we're going to have children. Are we? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You know, so I feel like there could be the need for some real discussion around, you know, this new beginning that you guys are starting, because that's what I'm feeling. It's just like, you know, it's like a brand new beginning for you. And now, you know, you got to make sure that everybody remains on the same page. you know, and if you have a question or a thought, because, you know, the Four of Cups sits here and says, you know, is this the one that I really, really want? You know, and when it comes up reversed, I think, you know, you kind of question whether or not you even want to, you know, get that serious, or whether they're that serious. You know, because there might be just some red flags that need to be, you know, cleared up, or, you know, kind of talked about. I do see that, you know, the Temperance card here coming in reverse. You could be a little short-tempered this week. You know, maybe these kind of discussions, you know, kind of make you a little cross. You know, because like you have your own ideas and maybe they're not matching. I just see you not being very patient in this conversation. So just be careful of that, all right? Because, you know, if we're going to have constructive conversation, it has to be a two-way street. And I feel like, you know, with the Seven of Swords here and this Temperance card, it could be, again, somebody not really saying what you have to say. It's, you know, Aries, what I'm getting you know, right now is there's a big elephant in the room and you guys need to talk about it. Okay? I mean, really, that's what I'm feeling this is all about. It's just like you can't keep, because this is sneaking around, you know, and you don't have patience for this. You know, you need to know whether person is really on the same plane as you, or they're sneaking around, or they're doing other things. You know, is this really what I want? You know, so I think it's time, you know, to have that conversation, you know, because this move has happened. You know, it's like, now what? You know, now we need to like get, you know, now this is all new and we're starting from ground zero, and you know, now it's the next phase and the next chapter of our life, and what are we going to do? Right? So yeah, for some of you, you know, it's just that constructive conversation needs to happen, you know, and you can't keep dancing around what it is that needs to be said. All right. So, you know, like if this is the big move and we're moving forward, then let's make sure all of our cards are out on the table. All right. So listen, that's what I got for you, Aries. All right. Take what works, leave what doesn't. This seems very specific to a couple. And as always, you know, there's other readings. Check your other signs: Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, all those other things. You know, you might see something there. All right. Anyway, I'll see you all in another reading. Until then, be well, be happy, be kind, and hit that like button. Bye.